Welcome back to the Gray Report. Thank you for tuning in. As previously mentioned, Spencer Gray out of office. We have the decision makers, the string pullers, the people in the arena at Gray Residential, our property management company. Senior Vice President Katrina Greene, as well as Vice President Joe Powell. And I've brought on Head of Investor Relations Blake Peroni to help me ask the hot questions, the important questions, and to assist us in navigating this conversation, which we're going to dive into the building, adapting, and leading in property management with these two individuals. Thank you for having us. And Blake, thanks for being
here. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for having us.
First podcast with 4 in this room.
Yeah, first for me. It's an all skate.
It's an all
Do you guys know what that means?
Nope. I know what an all skate
okay.
is. I know what an all skate is. Okay. Not very good at the roller skating. However, I was there for that.
Okay.
Is that when the older folks come to like skate at the same time as everybody else?
It's when everyone gets to skate all the same
time.
Yeah, like no theme or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, the old folks. Thanks, Blake.
Right. The people that can actually skate when the disco ball lights are moving, because there's people that can't.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I've never been skating.
They shut those off, and then you can come on out in an all skate.
I've been ice skating twice, and it was pretty bad, but never roller skating.
Well, let's get into it. Speaking of all skate, the Gray Residential Property Management Company hosted its own all skate today in the office. Let's talk about that. Yeah. We had site managers from across our portfolio come to Indianapolis to speak here at the Gray Capital headquarters. Give us a rundown of what the purpose of that meeting was, who all was involved, and what the overall objective was.
Yeah, so the talent engagement coordinator, Nikki, and the two regionals really are in charge of the content for it. But I led and opened the meeting just to talk to them about what 2026 and beyond was going to look like, mostly in the, I suppose, like scope of staffing structure, and really just more to outline the fact that, we've got commitments and then we have to budget for the resources to meet those commitments. And what does that really look like? So kind of trying to just distill it down to some very basic things. This is what we have to do. We have to commitments to the residents, to the employees, and to our owners. And then what are the resources needed to line up with that? So that was really my contribution today. And then I left and did a few other things. But the theme, I know, of the meeting was accountability. And so they, had slides and probably had some games and prizes, it sounded like. And they just like to come together and, sounding board. The property management just is naturally all these satellite locations. And so that's the unit. And we like to make sure that they feel really tied and dedicated, to us as well. But that's not easy to do until you are in the room together, just working some things out, brainstorming. It's also like a coping day. A little bit, yeah.
Share stories at different sites.
And it's not like a misery loves company, but sometimes it is just like you want to talk to someone that understands what you're going through or how it really went without having to give so much background. Like you can just be like, no, this resident, or whatever. So
often you're sitting here thinking, why am I dealing with this? I shouldn't have to deal with this. This is the craziest resident ever. And then you come in and you sit down and, your fellow manager's like, I had to deal with 2 of those yesterday.
Yeah. They're like, hold my beer.
Into the building.
Somebody ran into the building and I got cussed out by a resident. So it's like, and then they feel better about the situation. I mean, no one says, okay, I got cussed out. I really enjoyed that. But once you realize that you're not the only one, you don't have a bullseye on you, that we're all in the same group.
It's a little cathartic to talk to other people.
Oh, for sure. They love it. They love it.
Reassuring.
Cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask, first of all, Joe to introduce himself, maybe describe his introduction to property management in general, wear and tear and the care of real estate assets in general. I'll allow Joe to do that. And then Katrina, you're a little bit of a mainstay on the Gray Report podcast.
Yeah, I sure am. This is my third time.
If you listened last week, you've seen Katrina, you've heard from Katrina. But Joe, I think this is your first time on the Gray Report. Is that correct?
It's my first time on the Gray Report, and I was on Katrina's podcast. Yeah. I think I was guest number 4.
Oh, wow.
I was. So
give us like a 30-second elevator pitch on Joe Powell. But really, I'd like to just hear the origin of Joe Powell into property management, and then kind of where you sit today in your leadership role here at Gray Residential.
Yeah, it's hard to condense almost 30 years into 30 seconds, but I'll do my best. Probably a teenager, 18, 19 years old, making not all the greatest decisions. I had a MIC job, and I knew that wasn't going to last long. A friend of mine said, "Hey, I know where we can go and mow some grass, making $7.75 an hour now. In my day, that's good money." So it tells you how old I am. And so with that, I went to a warehouse and applied for a job and ended up on the grass crew with Indianapolis Public Housing. And it was a big deal for me. It was my first time as having a grown man job, and I was making money working full time. And then I realized at the end of the year, the grass is going to stop growing and they're going to want to lay me off, and I can't do that. And so I asked my supervisor, I said, "Hey, I want a toolbox and I want to go do what those guys out there on the properties are doing." And he said, "Well, what are they doing?" I said, "I don't know, but none of them are talking about layoffs." And so.
And you're 18, 19 at this time?
I was 18.
That's some good foresight and gumption, I feel like, at that age.
To ask Jeff Thompson, give me a job doing what they do without having the training and knowledge to back up, that was a big leap. But so next, fast forward 30 years and I'm still in multifamily, no longer mowing grass, but sometimes shoveling snow with the guys. But it was a long journey. It took a lot of learning, a lot of patience, a lot of training, and just understanding that where I was yesterday and today is not good enough. So tomorrow's got to be better. And I climbed the ladder and here I am.
Right. We will. We're going to get into some conversations later with Joe and Katrina, diving into those 30 years of experience, asking you to take a look in the rearview mirror, assess the way things were, the way things are, maybe the way that they're headed. So I appreciate that introduction, Joe. And
thank you.
Sorry to ask you to summarize a year in 1 second.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
30. Yeah, right.
30.
Yeah.
30 years, 30 seconds.
30 and 30.
You did it.
And then Katrina, just if anybody's jumping into Gray Report as a first-time listener today, or maybe has not listened to your podcast, The Complex, please, if you would do the same as Joe, just kind of summarize your introduction to property management and the role that you currently have here at Gray Residential would be awesome.
Yeah, not incredibly dissimilar, but I was living at an apartment community, my first apartment, and they needed someone to fill in for leasing while someone had a baby. And I had been up there faxing my resume and using the tanning bed in the clubhouse. So they knew me, and I like to believe that I'm personable and I'm very outgoing. And so I think that they recognize, like, hey, she'd probably do a really good job while Andrea is off. And so I started that. And then, much like everything happens in multifamily, Andrea came back for a day and said, "Nope, not going to do this anymore." And then the manager was terminated, probably for great reasons. And then, I stayed in it. And so done that for 24 years. And then I just have like this special section of my life where I worked for a vendor. So I have some perspective from the other quote unquote the other side. We do call it like it's like adversarial, and I think in those moments, it was for a marketing company, so I got backside marketing information and training and got to see how a lot of different management companies worked, and then came back to operations, which is somewhat rare. People are like, "Oh, you're the one that went back to operations after the vendor side," which there's crazy. I'm crazy.
Yeah. What do they call Harry Potter, the boy who lived? The girl who went to the other side.
Yeah.
Or came back.
I did.
Well, awesome. And then Blake, just a quick introduction of yourself, the maybe intro into your role here at Gray Capital on the investor relations side would just be great for anybody that's listening for the first time.
Yeah. So I have a more extensive background in athletics, specifically in swimming. I swam through high school and college at IU, swam professionally for a number of years, retired in 2021, or thought I did. Got connected to Spencer through a family friend and started at Gray Capital as an intern in January of 22, so almost 4 years now. And now we work together on the investor relations, raising equity for projects, talking to investors, reporting, distributions, and things like that. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years already.
Crazy. Truly crazy.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Well, In our daily operations at Gray Capital, Blake and I are oftentimes asking Katrina and Joe hard questions about our existing portfolio, its performance, what's going on site, whether it's leasing, CapEx, you name it. We go to these two for the hard questions, questions that may be a nuisance, but these two always have the answers. So today, I'm actually looking forward to just discussing with you guys and asking you questions that maybe provides me a little bit more insight into your background, how you're making decisions.